Hello, everyone. Today is December 6th. It is Wednesday. It is our midweek review. Hope you guys have had a good week so far, both inside and outside the markets. Just going to give you guys a quick little update on what we see in the markets and what's going on with regards to the economic calendar for the rest of the week. So tomorrow, look out. You do have 8:30 a.m. unemployment claims. And on Friday, obviously at 8:30, you have all those non-farm payroll releases, unemployment rates. And then at 10 a.m., you have a prelim consumer sentiment. Obviously, we are now going into the back half of Wednesday. So hopefully if you are trading, whether it's live or whatever the case may be, make sure that you are trading responsibly. When we get into the back half of this week, it tends to get a little bit shaky with regards to probabilities. So just keep that on your radar. Make sure you're doing the responsible thing and making the right decisions always. Other than that, there's really no new announcements. Call this week, Sunday, 10 a.m. Hope to see you guys there. Henry, is there anything else that you might have?
That's it from my end. I'm heading out this weekend, moving out to the Carolinas. So you may see me on Sunday's call if I have internet by then. If not, it'll be with Carson. But look forward to watching it back after, and I'll definitely be back with y'all next week.
All right, well then let's just go ahead and get into it. Dollar. Henry, tell me when I'm good.
You are good.
Alrighty, so obviously we were talking about how we were pushing off of this weekly order block, coming back in, and now we are above the equilibrium of the yearly range. One key thing to note on the weekly, though, is that we have basically traded through the previous week's high. We noted that if we wanted to get a little bit heavy going higher, we had this weekly imbalance right here. So I'll mark this out. Right, we've got a weekly SIBI right here. So that could be where we're drawing if we're going to go to the upside. When you go down into a daily, though, obviously you have a SIBI right here too. But I'm really noting this previous week's high because we still have not gotten above this high. And if you look at the consequent encroachment of the wick here that was outlined, we still have not had any daily closure above it. So this still could potentially hold. One thing I want to note is the responding behavior around the previous week's high. So do we use it as support and go higher, breaking this high here and aiming for these relative equal highs and this SIBI right here? Is that a potential area where we could see unfold for the back half of the week for NFP? Or do we want to get back below and use that as resistance and kind of play back in and around here, or go even lower and kind of down into these levels also? Now, one thing I want to note is there is a tiny unfulfilled portion of this BISI, but we noted this on the Sunday call, and you can see how we filled in it, and we were looking to see, do we use it as support and go higher or use it as resistance? You can see we clearly used it as support. So I'm curious to know, if we do not keep this open and we do fill it today, great. If we close and we do create a BISI, I'd be curious to see how we play in there. We also have a SIBI right here, right? There's a SIBI right here. I'll outline it. It's very tiny. But notice the candle closure around it, right? We still have not closed anywhere above or below it. So I'm curious to see how we close with regards to that and around that 104 flat area. There's nothing too crazy that I can see right now, just understanding why we are pulling up the way we are pulling up. We're coming off of that weekly order block. I need more data, right? There's so much that could potentially unfold with regards to what's above us, right? We obviously have areas where we would like to see dollar continue going lower, but knowing where we are within our yearly range, how we just dipped into the discount, how we responded against this weekly order block, right? There's so much going on. And so I think that's why if you're planning on trading the rest of the week, kind of be hesitant towards that, right? Because of where the dollar is. I still see higher prices on ES and NASDAQ. It's just dependent on whether or not they want to, consolidate or retrace a little bit lower. And the dollar is going to, want to give me more data for me to really be confident on what the indices are going to do. So we still haven't broken structure. So I'm still wanting price to go lower, but it's how we respond on this previous week's high. I'm curious if we can get back below it, that would give us a better chance of going. If we just stay above it, obviously we're going to keep going higher, and I would want to see how price delivers in here, right? And my liquidity target would be 104,600. So keep that in mind. It's really eyeing the previous week's high at, let me just give you the exact 103,722, right? Identifying how we play in and around there. You know, today so far has not really given us anything, right? We've got a little bit higher. We took out the previous day's high. We came a little bit lower. Now we're just kind of in the middle, right? So relatively neutral. Just going to give it the rest of the week. I'm not trading the rest of the week. I did all of my trading the front half of the week, like we had talked about in the call on Sunday. So really, it's good for me to just sit here and just watch the market do what it wants to do and take whatever it does from now until Friday closure and just gather data from it, right? How did the week close? So that's why I'm not tied to a bias right now. I'm not tied to anything. I'm just a student of the chart and seeing, is it wanting to, you know, go up higher into the 104,600 area and revisit these highs in here in the CIBI, or do we want to actually close back below the previous week's high and start going lower and maybe fill some of this in here and then potentially take this low? So that's something to think about, something to note, but really there's not too much going on here. I need more information. You'll note, you know, if you're new to these calls, there's stuff like that. There's times where we're very particular in what we want to see in price, and there's times where we're very loose-ended and we just need more data. Right? Here's an area where I need more data. I need a little bit more, you know, daily closures. I need this week's closure to tell me what it's going to do. Right? And I don't have to try to, you know, go and make money off of that, right? I'm completely disconnected with regards to trading and execution and managing positions for the rest of the week. So really, I'm just sitting here and I'm just curious, what does it do? But other than that, that's it for me. I'll pass it over to Henry.
All right, cool. Can you see my screen, Carson?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, cool. All right, jumping into ES. Nothing much has changed. We've mostly just been in consolidation toward the front end of this week, which can be expected as we lead up to high impact news events. So we're looking at the monthly chart, still just reaching up to this swing high up here. So anyone who's been short throughout this has to place a protective buy stop above this high. And so there's going to be liquidity available up here for anyone who was long down in here to sell their positions to a willing buyer above this high. So jumping into the weekly chart, you can see that we already reached up into this weekly CIBI right there. The remaining portion of that between that candle's low and that candle's high, part of it had been delivered already right there, redelivered. So instead of marking it from that low to that high, we're taking this and putting it to that high because that's the remaining portion of the inefficiency. And that's already been completely redelivered here. And so now we can just go ahead and continue with the higher time frame bias that we got from the monthly and from the weekly as well. We're seeing all of these BISIs being created on the weekly chart, which is showing that institutional order flow is moving in that direction. When we have large players in the market, that's when we see this displacement occur. And displacement is showing you the direction in which the market is likely to continue moving. And so as we're getting these, you can see that we're reaching up to that monthly high up here. And now that we've reached this weekly CIBI in here, I really just see that as a speed bump. We can come into that and then we can come back off into a higher time frame inefficiency. Like right here we have on the weekly, it's pretty small, but if you look on your own charts, you can see it between this candle's high and this candle's low. There's a small separation that remains in there. So we could potentially see price return here, back down into that CIBI, or BISI, excuse me, and then continue to work up toward the buy side, just like that. So as we go into the remainder of the week, just being conscious of that area, right down here below these previous daily candle lows, you can see price wick down into there on a high impact news, and then we'll see if we can continue to work higher. But even if it doesn't happen this week, still maintaining that higher time frame outlook of price working its way up to the buy side up here. You can see all these levels I have marked here as well. Where I've gotten that from is I've taken this daily CIBI, including the volume imbalance right here. So from this candle's close all the way to this candle's high, and then I've refined it to right here, since that portion has already been redelivered. And then I'm taking it from there to there, and I'm just quartering that. So if price does go this week and continue above the buy side right here, above last Friday's high, then you can see price start to work toward these levels, right? First is going to be your buy side here at 46.11, And then you can look to each of the quarters as an area where you could potentially partial out of a long position if you're in one. So pay attention to those areas. And then, of course, lastly, you have volume imbalance to draw to here before reaching up to the buy side. Jumping back to the weekly chart really quick, there is this larger BISI remaining below. I wouldn't really want to see price go any deeper than the upper portion of this. If we start to see that, then we could potentially see a larger retracement or reversal back down into some of these inefficiencies below. But if you're thinking about the price delivery wheel, and now we have expansion to consolidation and then expansion, I don't want to see a reversal at this point when we're already in such close proximity to the highs up here. And so for price to trade all the way back down to here would start to look more like a reversal, especially too, because if you look at a monthly chart, you would see that price trading all the way down to there would mean that it's closing in this whole portion. And ideally, what we would see happen is part of this remains open on the close of this candle, creating a new monthly BISI right here. So if I translate that down to the weekly time frame, you can see right there that if this was closed in all the way, it would also be filling in that monthly inefficiency there. So that is pretty much it on ES. I'll just touch on NASDAQ quickly. Same sort of idea, right? This is the area we were looking at the beginning of the week, this weekly BISI right here. We've seen price nicely reach down right to the consequent encroachment there, aligned with this weekly mitigation block right here. On a daily chart, if we take the highest candle body, you can see nice overlap right there within that weekly BISI. And the expectation from here is just that we continue to see consolidation and then ideally expansion up toward the buy side above here and then the monthly buy side here. That is all from me. Carson, any last thoughts here?
Nope, I'm good. Just waiting to see what plays out for the rest of the week. Nothing too crazy. That's about it. Short and sweet and simple. Hopefully you guys, take the right steps necessary over the next couple of days. You know what's going on with regards to economic calendar. You know what you need to do and what you more importantly don't need to do to help you in your trading. So other than that, we'll see where the week ends and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy your week. If there's one thing I can give you from the call, it's to kind of take and ponder over the next couple of days until we meet again on Sunday is if nothing changes, nothing changes. That's something that I want you to kind of think about, right? You have the opportunity to change whatever it is in your life. But if you don't change anything, don't expect anything to change. So that's a little quote for you to sit there and chew on over the next couple of days. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Take care, everyone.